So let me tell you the introduction of it and let me start it from very basic. And I am assuming that you have a very basic knowledge of networking. So CCIE is the expert level of Cisco, and in this CCIE, it is a third level you are learning. But we will start from level one. But in the market, this CCIE is known that it is a third level of Cisco. Now, why third level? Because this is expert. Now, only the E part changes. Like, for example, this is my CCNA, this is my CCNP, and this is my IE. This is my associate, this is my professional, and this is my expert. So when we'll start the session and all of that, I will consider you as a CCNA candidate, and I will also consider you as a CCNP, and I will also consider you as a CCIE. So for example, if we are starting one topic like EIGRP, we will start from the full form and we'll just dig into it like anything. Okay. Now also one more thing that CCIE, now also one more thing that CCIE is changed drastically since 2020. Okay. Now in this 2020 CCIE, it is divided into module and lab. Okay. Let me show you the document. Let me,
One
please,
thing.
please don't
Uh,
distract in
okay,
between. I'll,
okay,
I'll,
okay.
I'll, I'll ask you to speak it in between, and let me show you the document for that. CCIE Enterprise Infrastructure Lab, and okay, so I am not able to find that link right now, but let me explain you what exactly they have done. So what exactly they have done here is they have now the CCIE enterprise infrastructure was basically changed in 2020 before the COVID. Okay, like when even before the COVID had spread all over the world, it was already changed. Now, before enterprise infrastructure, it was routing and switching. It was routing and switching. But in 2020, it was changed to enterprise infrastructure. Now, like I said, routing and switching was more based off only the routing and switching, like as the name applies. There was no software defined networking, there was no automation, there was nothing in the routing and switching, only the routing and the switching part. But in the enterprise infrastructure, they have added many things which are currently running in the actual enterprise networks. And one of them is SD-WAN. SD-WAN, I personally feel, is very important. SD-WAN and SD access. As of now, I don't see automation as important as SD-WAN, because automation might come in the near future. And by near future, I don't mean by like 3 4 6. Near future is like 5 years ahead. It might come in the market. But right now we don't need automation in any of the enterprise, because SD-WAN is also a kind of automation. For us, moving from CLI to GUI is also a kind of automation. Like you are just tick 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 and all the commands are being done. That is also an automation for us. As of now, I think SD-WAN and SD access is very, very, very important topics. DNA center, SD-WAN, SD access, all of these things are covered in your CCIE, and that's why they renamed it to enterprise infrastructure. Now, when the CCIE was updated, before when I gave my exam in 2019, it was three modules. It was troubleshoot, it was diagnostic, and then it was configuration. Now to do this, we had 8 hours. Okay, we had 8 hours. You will go in the morning. The exam will start in the morning, 8 o'clock, and it will go around 4 o'clock in the evening. 15 minutes break is given in the between. So so your exam will most probably end around 5 p.m. because when you reach 8 p.m., you kind of have formality. So your exam will start by 9 p.m. or 8:30, and it will end by 5 p.m. So in troubleshooting, there were topology in which Cisco has already pre-configured it. We just have to find the mistake by the question which they have given. Why is it not able to ping so and so IP and so protocol or whatever it is? And for troubleshoot, we used to have 3 hours. Okay. For diagnostic, we used to have 30 minutes. And for config, we used to have, how many minutes are left? 4 hour 30. Now there was very one good thing here in the old CCIE. That was the only good thing. There were many good things else also, but there are more and more topics in this enterprise. So I find this blueprint very good rather than that old routing and switching. So there was one more good thing in the previous CCIE, that you can shift your timings according to your learnings and your practice. Like for example, if you are done with the T-shoot in 2 hours, you can borrow that 1 hour to your config part. So in config, you can get 5 hours, 30 minutes. Diagnostic is stable. You cannot borrow, and even if you are done with diagnostic 5 minutes, and we do this diagnostic in 2 minutes, you cannot borrow the time here. You can go out, drink coffee, you can go to washroom on the diagnostic part. But in troubleshoot, if you are done in 1 hour, which is very difficult, you can borrow your 2 hours in the config, which is very, very, very important, because in the config, you have to configure the full topology in 5 hours, and you need a robot speed to do that. Okay. So it is very well said that there is only 1% CCIE in the world. I would not say there is 1%, but when I got my cert, the Cisco wrote that only 1% passes who give the exam. But what I believe personally, if you understand it thoroughly, the exam is very easy. It is just the concepts, it is just the basic things which you need to know. Because what I have seen personally in these 12 years in my network journey, that anyone, whether it's exam, whether it's interviewer, everyone will catch you in the basics. Many students ask me that, sir, I have done BGP, I have done MPLS, I have done ISIS, I have done multicast, I have done QoS. But my interviewer asked me, what is the administrative distance for BGP? And I didn't knew it, because I have been doing EBGP multi-hop. I have been doing EBGP prefix length. How would I remember EBGP administrative distance? And that is very, very common mistake which you guys might also do in the future. But I will personally make sure that you don't do that, because I keep asking questions in between so that you guys can always refresh the old technologies. Okay, this was the old part. Okay, now in the new part, which is CCIE Enterprise Infrastructure, what they have done, they have divided it into two modules. One is design, and in this design, you have 3 hours. In this design, you have 3 hours, and the second module is deploy, operate, and optimize. Basically, config, troubleshoot, diagnostic. Okay, and to do this, you have 5 hours. And one sad part here is that it is fixed. It is fixed. Many students who I know personally have gone to the exam, who have passed the exam. The design part is done in 1 hour. Rest 2 hours, you are just waiting for the time to finish, or you can do the revision. And then this is also fixed. You have only, and this 5 hours is okay. 5 hours for this is like you can finish it in 4 hours or 4 hours, 30 minutes. And if you finish it in 5 hours, you have failed because there is so much config, there is so much troubleshooting, there is so much diagnostic part going on in this 5 hours that if you are finishing your lab time like 1 minute, 2 minutes before, you will not be able to pass because you are not able to do revision. And if you are not being able to do revision of what you have configured, you will probably fail because there might be at some point you might have done mistake. Because let's say there is question 1 and there is question 15. All these questions are interrelated with each other. Okay, if you have done something wrong with question 5, your question 15 will not work. So you need last 30 minutes or 1 hour to actually troubleshoot yourself, to actually do the revision yourself, to actually see where the actual mistake is. Okay. So in this CCIE, they have changed your lab pattern to this. Now let's review some topics. What exactly the topics are there in the CCIE? So this is your blueprint, and in this blueprint, we'll cover each and everything. Okay. First, the number one section is network infrastructure. And in this network infrastructure, they have given everything they have could. Number one is your switch campus, and in this switching, now see, it's a very interesting fact that they have removed the switching from CCNP and from CCNA, and they have put all the switching part in CCIE. Now by remove, what I mean is, like, if you know the previous CCNP, we used to have a separate book and a separate module for switching, but now the switching part is only there in the core 350-401, and that too is very, very, very less. Okay, so this part is your switching 1.1, and then we'll come to 1.2. 1.2 is basically your routing concepts. What is administrative distance? What is static routing? What is policy based routing? All these things, bidirectional forwarding detection, BFD, we'll cover all these topics which you see here. For now, we are starting from EIGRP. And why we are starting from EIGRP? Because when we start EIGRP, we'll cover everything, the basics to the end. Now, when I said that we'll cover everything of EIGRP, you can see that it is ending with EIGRP stub leak map. And that is like the highest of EIGRP you could study. Okay, so it is given everything, and many topics which might not be written here. I'll teach you that also, because in CCIE you should have all the content and you can learn all of it when you have time or anything, or whenever you get time. Okay, you will have recordings with you. You can practice it anytime. You can learn the technologies anytime. And what else? Like I'll cover the full EIGRP and with practicals. That day, I think on Monday, I showed you one practical stuck in active, and trust me, I have seen candidates knowing what is stuck in active, but they don't actually know how it is being done in the industry and how we can see it in the practice. Okay, so there is OSPF, adjacencies, network types, area types, path preference, operations, the full OSPF basically. Then we'll come to BGP, multicasting. Now, multicasting is very interesting. Multicasting is basically your live streaming happening across the world is done through multicasting. And sometimes multicasting also happens within the company, within the organization as well in your enterprise network. And we will have to learn that how it's done. And then comes the software defined infrastructure. Now, see, in this software defined infrastructure, this is very, very interesting topic. I find this topic very interesting because this topic, students, many students think that SD-WAN was introduced in 2020, but SD-WAN, I have been doing SD-WAN in my company since 2014, and trust me, it's amazing. Cisco did not had the concept for SD-WAN, but Cisco had the money. So what Cisco did? Cisco purchased Viptela. Now Viptela is not Cisco. Many students think that Cisco is Viptela, Cisco is Viptela, because now we say this Cisco Viptela because of Cisco has purchased it. But Viptela was altogether a different organization. Like you might have heard Nexus. Now Nexus was totally a different organization. You might have heard Catalyst. Catalyst switches. Catalyst was a different organization. But Cisco has such good marketing that we all know Catalyst is Cisco, Catalyst, Cisco switch, Cisco Catalyst, Cisco Nexus. That's how it's done in Cisco. Cisco basically has a lot of money to invest on the right company, and they know how to get famous because there is no training better than Cisco. That's why everyone knows about Cisco. Because, and why I say this, because in industry, I have been working for many, many, many years now, and I have personally not seen Cisco very much in the industry. I have seen in routing and switching, I have seen Juniper. In security, I have seen Checkpoint. In wireless, I have seen Junos, Aruba, and I have seen CWNP, I have seen Aruba, and in data center, I will say that I have seen Cisco a lot. Cisco Nexus, Cisco ACI, Cisco UCS. These are the things which are running currently in the industry level from Cisco perspective. But having said that, yesterday there was a job description on LinkedIn. In Juniper, they needed L3 engineer, and the requirement was CCIE certified trainer. And this is one example. I have seen this thousands of example companies doing this. Why? Because the concepts are same. If you know the OSPF, you know the OSPF. Only thing changes is what? The syntax. So even if Dell, HP, many other companies, Nokia, Ericsson, they have their own certifications as well. But they ask for CCNA certified. They ask for CCNP certified. They ask for CC. Why? Because if you know the technology, they will just have to give you the overview of the syntax and you will be ready in 2 months, 1 month max. That's how basically Cisco works. Now, for example, in routing and switching, Cisco came up with Viptela, right? Cisco came up with SD-WAN in routing and switching. In data center, it came up with ACI, application centric infrastructure. These both are part of SDN, software defined networking. Now, before directly jumping into software defined access, we will have to I will have to give you a basic introduction about software defined networking. What is SDN? Why do we need SDN and why do we need SD-WAN? What were the problems with the actual WAN which we are running right now? Many companies are also running right now because it's not easy to upgrade a corporate network. So many companies are still running on the old WAN networks where you have to done or where you have to done everything manually. But SD-WAN is very easy to implement. Companies who are not upgrading, the only reason they have is the money and nothing else, because the configuration, the everything is so simple, so easy, that every company as of now have loved it, whoever whenever they have implemented this SD-WAN and SD access. Okay, and then we'll come to MPLS. Then we'll come L3 VPN is also there in your MPLS. So a lot of technologies, lot of good technologies. And then you have DM VPN. Then you have basic security features, your AAA, your VLAN access list, port access list, storm control, many things, DHCP snooping, option 82. This was there in CCNA, but now they have removed it. They have, the CCNA of Cisco right now is like, they have added so many topics which doesn't even make sense. But anyways, they have added small of everything. They have added a small part for wireless, small part for security, small part for automation, small part for software defined networking, and they are basically confusing the students what exactly it is. Earlier they used to have CCNA for every path. Now for 6 paths they have one CCNA. Anyways, so then we have system management. What is console? What is VTY? Basically telnet, SSH, SCP, RESTconf, netconf, SNMP version 3 is also here. Version 3 is the most latest version of SNMP, and then we have QoS. After QoS, we have network services like FHRP, first hop, the load balancing protocols. Then we have NTP, DHCP on Cisco iOS, IPv4 address, network address translation. Now they have mentioned IPv4 because the NAT is also done now these days on IPv6, because whoever has a Geo SIM or a Geo fiber in their home, chances are they'll get IPv6 IP, because Geo is totally running on Nexus, like Geo is totally on Cisco, and they have only they have started the implementation of IP addressing with IPv6. They have not used IPv4. Okay, and then we'll come to the network optimization, IP, SLA, ICMP probes, UDP probes. All this stuff is for your capturing stuff, like your sys logs, your TF. All these things we'll do from TFTP and all of that. And this IPLSA is very important, because this is something which you will see a lot running in the companies. IPL SLA is basically service level agreement, and this service level agreement is like, for example, when we purchase an internet in the home, they don't usually say us that it will be 100% up. Okay, and they don't give us the guarantee or something like that. But in the data center environment, there is no option of internet going down. So SLA is basically a service level agreement which is done with the company who is buying the internet, that we give you that your internet will be up 100%, and if any day or any month for a 1 second if it goes down, we'll give you refund for that month or for that year or for that day, direct refund. Because in the data center environment, you cannot afford to go down even 1 second. Okay, so that is IP SLA. Again, this traffic capturing tools and all of that, and this automation will be done by some other trainer. Okay, now let me also tell you one more thing before I ask you doubts, that after every section you will see a percentage here. After every section you might see a percentage here, and this percentage is something which tells you how much of this section will be there in your exam. Like this section 1 will be there in your exam only 30% of it. Section 2 will be there in your exam only 25% of it. Section 5 will be there only 15% of it. Section 4 15%. Section 5 15%. So automation 15%, your system management, QoS, VLAN access list, all of this stuff 15%. 15% your MPLS and DMVPN, transport technologies, software defined is 25%, and this is also 30%. Now, by seeing this syllabus, you might get worried, but do not worry at all, because we will do each and every topic listed here. And in the exam, 80% of the things are pre-configured. You just have to know the technologies so that you can configure the rest 20%. And you should know the technologies because when you are configuring this 20%, you should know what exactly is happening with that 80% pre-config. So you will get an access of this EVNG on your registered email ID or portal, whichever you have given them. And on this registered, on your registered email ID, what we'll do is you can get this CCIE labs. Okay, now this is what your CCIE topology might look like this. This is a lab for your SD-WAN. SD-WAN we'll do here. CCIE topology is still, I am making the CCIE topology from a perspective of the lab exam so that I can include all the technologies which we'll do in the lab on that particular topology. When we'll do the technology, I'll show you all the labs on maximum 4, 5, 6 routers so that you understand the concept. And when we'll complete all the technology part, your MPLS, your everything, DMVPN, MPLS, or anything, we'll merge everything into a big topology like this, and you will have access of this EVNG 24/7 at your home. You can practice anytime, anywhere. Okay, this is internet-based EVNG, and you cannot add or remove the routers from here. So once the topology is being made, you can play with the topology as much as you want. You can remove the config, and because that is your local. Okay, like removing the config, adding the config, that is happening only on your portal. That will not replicate to my portal or any other student portal. But adding the devices, removing the devices will be replicated from my account to your account. Okay, and yes, if you want to ask anything, you can ask me right now.
Hello.
Yes.
We can configure EVNG lab, right?
On your laptop, if you
No,
have, yes.
here on server.
Yeah, of course, you can configure it, you can delete it, you can do anything you want.
Okay.
You can
New
do
lab.
anything you want, yes.
Okay.
But you cannot design a topology.
Okay.
So basically, sir, this lab is actually looks like a actual lab that we are going for if we are going for the exam, practical
No,
exam.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
The lab exam, which the exact lab which you'll get here might be different because I cannot share that with you because of the NDA. Cisco, when you give the exam, Cisco gives you a paper and all of that so that you sign the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, but it will be very much similar to it. It will be like your practice exam.
No. I'm asking for the for only for practicing. If how we can know it that the lab is going. This type of labs are going
Yeah,
in.
of course I'll tell you that. Of course I'll show you all the labs and everything which will be presented there, but I cannot tell you the exact lab which will be there, right? I can show you the similar to it. I can show you the 90% of it, right? And also let me tell you one more thing. CCIE, I think it was yes, practical exam format. I think it was this article which I was looking for. Let me also share this link with you guys on the Zoom chat. Okay, and see this. Now the module 1, module 2, design is for 3 hours. Format is scenario and time see fixed. Okay, format scenario based meaning that this exam, the design module will be like your MCQ questions, will be like your CCNP encore, but it will be scenario based, like the questions which will be presented in the design module, the topology and everything will be given there, but you have to choose it from the multiple choice question. It will be, you will be given the choice to choose it. Okay, now the deploy, operate and optimize, it is hands-on and web-based items. Web-based items because of the SD-WAN and SD access and all of that. You have to access vManage, and this is also fixed. You cannot, like, if you're finished with 2 hours, you have to wait for 1 hour. Okay, and the disabled function is the backward navigation is also disabled in module 1, and that is something which you have to very careful about this, because once you go next, you can't go previous. If you are done with one question, you are done with one question. You have to move. If you move to the second, now you are on the second. And the module 2, the backward navigation is enabled, which means like even if you are on the question 10, you can go back to question 1, question 2, whatever it is. The point values, it is hidden here. The questions which will be given, the MCQ question, this is for 5 marks, this is for 8 marks, it will be not shown, but on the module 2, it will be shown. It will be basically shown like this, like it is for 2 points, it is for 5 points and all of that.
Sir, how many
Okay,
questions in design part?
in design, it will be around 100 questions.
Okay, in module 2 we will take 5 hours.
Module 2, you will have sections. You will have 5 sections like this. Section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, and section 5. And you will have the percentage are the same, which is like written here. Okay.
Sir, basically, if someone fail in design part, so
Yeah,
they are
I'm coming to that.
module part or what?
I'm coming to that only. I was coming to this exam score, evaluation, and reports only. Okay. Now see this. Now the passing percentage for your CCIE lab exam is 80%. Okay. But the passing percentage for module 1 and module 2 is 60%. Module 1 60%, module 2 60%. Now if you get 60% on module 1 and if you get 60% in module 2, you will not be CCIE, because the overall percentage which you got is less than 80%. So what they say is that in module base you need only 60%. Like for example, if you got in module 1 60%, in module 2 you will have to score about 100%. And then overall, if you get more or equal to 80%, then you will be considered as a CCIE. which is basically, in any of the modules, it's not possible that you get 100%. You might do one or the other mistake. So it's always better to be prepared for 90% and for 90%. Then you can get overall 80%, because if you are preparing for 90-90, then you will get 85-85. Then also it's fine, it's 80%. But the module passing is 60%. So I did my CCIE in 2 attempts. So now before, like I said, it was 3 modules. Okay, so what I did was, it was pass, pass, overall fail. Okay, and this happens like very on a very rare situation. Okay, but on the second, it was pass. Now in Cisco, what they do is, like, they don't show you anything on which module you scored how much percentage. If you pass, if you fail, it will show you this module, this module, this module, this, and under that module, which part of the configuration was the most least, they will show you that also. Like, for example, if you fail the lab exam, they will show you that in transport technology, in the transport technologies and solution, you got only 10%. In software defined infrastructure, you got 100%. In this section 1 network infrastructure, you got 80%. So if you fail, it will show you the percentage of the exact section which you got. But if you pass, it is a pass. It is a pass, and you will get your CCI number. Currently, the CCI number which is running right now is 65,000 something, which means there are only 65,000 CCIEs currently in the whole world, and mine is 63. So I gave in 2019, and because of this COVID and all of that, the numbers are increasing very slowly. So you have a very good opportunity right now to give this CCIE lab. Okay, understood? So this is how your CCIE works, and this is how we'll approach CCIE. If you guys have any doubts right now, you can ask me. I have shared this link with you on Zoom chat. Sumit, you were saying something, or is it clear now?
I think
Sachin, will you
you
share?
should-
Sorry, Sumit, go ahead.
No, I think you were asking, no?
They've asked.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Will you, Sachin, will you share any study document to us?
Yeah. I'll share the workbook with you, and that
Okay.
workbook will be related more to the practical part. But on the study material, when we are doing it on the presentations and on, I mostly do it on the notepad so that you guys can understand it better. You can write the notes hand by hand, because nothing's better than that.
Okay.
And
And
I'll
other
give
thing
you
is,
the practical workbook. Yes.
okay. Other thing is that sometime I stuck in a communication. Can I speak in Hindi if you don't mind?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So Sachin, my
Hmm.
question is related to the course and the future opportunity with the CCI.
Hmm.
Is it necessary to complete CCNA and CCMP if I am doing CCI?
It's actually not, because see, you are working right now
Yes, I am working.
in the network only.
Yes.
Okay, so you don't need this, because if a fresher is doing a CCIE, then I recommend them to take CCNA and CCNP also. But if you have a good experience, like 3 to 4 or 5 experience, then you don't need these 2 certifications. Your experience with CCIE is enough. Even if you don't do the lab exam and all of that stuff, the knowledge of CCIE is also enough, because that is also very less. Because like I said, right now there are 65,000 CCIEs right now, and in that 65,000 there are 10% inactive CCIEs that they did not renew their exam. The validity for CCIE is 3 years. and then you have to renew it. You have to renew it by giving the CCNP exam. You don't have to give your 8 hours exam again. And then there are 10% inactive. Okay. Then there are students who have totally changed their field. 10% have changed their field. 10% are there who have done their CCIE to just do the CCIE and they don't have the technical knowledge at all. Now remaining 70% is only there, and in this 70% also many students I have, because I have seen many students who have their CCIE but don't know what exactly it's going. Okay, and like Azmat Khan said, there are dumpers in the market which you can just do the lab, go there, pass the lab and come back. Okay, we don't do that. We teach you the technology. I'll show you what exactly is there in the real lab 90%. And if you do your lab by your own, by studying and everything, the confidence will show up on your face. And the confidence which you will have will be totally different.
And yes, and we hope that you will guide us from the beginning, because you can
Yeah,
choose us. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Don't
Thank
worry
you.
about that.
And Sachin, what is the cost of CCI examination?
Yes, the CCI examination cost is $1,600.
Mhm.
And this is your CCIE lab exam, which is of 8 hours. Now, if you want to give your CCIE lab, there is only one prerequisite, that you will have to give your CCNP core exam, which is 350,401. And the
Mhm.
cost for this in India is $472 because of the GST. Otherwise, in other countries, it's $400.
So it will be online or offline?
This will be offline, this will be online.
Okay. And center in India or out of India?
That you can choose. There are 9 centers.
Mm.
The one center here in India is in Bangalore. The
Mhm.
nearest to India is Dubai, China,
Okay.
and Singapore. Then you can
Okay.
go to Australia, US, and Belgium, Tokyo. One more. I'm forgetting. There are 9 locations, but yes, I remember these 8.
Okay.
So in India, only Bangalore is
Yes,
one of.
yes,
So if we
correct.
register in a Bangalore, so we can get a easily seat in Bangalore for the
Yeah,
CCI
absolutely,
examination. Or we have to
absolutely.
wait.
No. You can get it up like immediately.
Okay. Okay.
You don't have to like. You will just have to week. You just have to. You will have to book a week before maximum,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then you're good to go.
Okay. Thank you.
So I hope after 4 or 5 months, we will be able to give the exam.
Yeah, absolutely. Not after 4 to 5 months,
Okay.
but after 8 to 9 months. Because when we'll finish the batch, you will have to practice on your speed, or you will have to practice on the labs, and a lot of theory, a lot of practical. Then after a practice of 8 to 9 months, you will be ready for sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So let's uh, let's keep the session short today, and I will end the session here. And tomorrow we'll start the session 10 a.m. We'll start from EIGRP from 1.3. It was 1.2 or 1.3, whatever it was. And then we'll start with OSPF. EIGRP will take around, I think, 1 or 2 weeks. Then we'll move to OSPF BGP. There are a lot of technologies. You will all love it.
Basically, we will start from the routing protocol first.
From the routing protocols.
Okay.
But
Okay. Okay.
why you are starting that EIGRP first?
EIGRP is the first routing protocol. That is the basic routing protocol, because there is no RIP here. So I would have started with the RIP in CCIE if it would have been there. So the basic protocol I'm starting from the very basic. That's why I'm saying EIGRP again and again.
Only three protocol are covered in CCIE, no? OSPF, BGP, and EIGRP, right?
Yes,
And
yes. And
MPLS?
even in the routing protocols are these three. Rest other protocols, we have a lot of other protocols, but the routing protocols are these three. Okay. And even in the
Right.
industry, you won't see any other routing protocol other than this.
Right.
So other than if you are in ATEL or something like that, you will see ISIS. But on the other hand, if you are in data center or you are in enterprise wireless anything, you will see these three protocols. Okay, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining today. And yes,
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Sachin, thank you so much.
thank you so
Thank
much.